What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, I have Marcy Chin. She's the president of Chin City. What's Chin City? You're going to find out in the next few minutes. Marcy Chin, she's out there in Jamaica. Kingston, Jamaica, the capital. I always think of Kingston, Jamaica as a pretty interesting and pretty cool place. There's been a lot of songs, and there's at least one band that's been named Kingston, the Kingston Trio. So there's a lot of history and a lot of, I think there's a lot of good things that come out of Kingston, and I think Mary Chin might be one of them. Chin City president. So you get to hear about her in the next few minutes. So stick around. This week's shows, let's see. Oh, I have 2 shows this week, 2 public shows. I always have a lot of shows during the week, but usually there's only one public show. That's the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night. My usual Friday night gig. Yes, this week you can come out to the Rab on Friday night. The video dance party karaoke jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. It's a little concert starring each and every one of you. Good times at the Rab. Full bar, kitchens open, pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, come on out to the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. They always leave a couple of pool tables open in case you don't want to be in the tournament, but you still want to play some pool while you're waiting to sing on stage right next to me. And the dance floor, of course, it's always open. Yeah. And we play some music for you. All kinds of music. I think I'm going to play some Marcy Chin music this time at the Rab. And they're going to go, who is that? That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's Marcy Chin. Look her up. Check her out. All right. Also, on Saturday, I have another public show for you, for your pleasure, in case you miss me at the Rab, or if you go to the Rab. A lot of times people go to the Rab and then they'll follow me over to the Choctaw VFW on Saturday night. Video dance party, karaoke jam. They got pool tables. They got some food. They got a full bar. They got the nicest, the nicest bar staff over there. Good people. And man, there's the stories. Some of these veterans that come into the Choctaw VFW, they tell some stories. You could hear it in their voices. You could see it on their faces. They've been through some stuff, and I don't want to go through that stuff ever. So I'm glad they got the stories, because I don't ever want to go through what these people of the veteran of foreign wars, the VFW people have gone through. So I'm thankful to them, and I'm thankful that I get to play for the people of the VFW on Saturday night from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM at least. Oh yeah, Friday night is 8 o'clock until 12:30 in the AM as well over at the Rab in Conway, and then at the Choctaw VFW on Saturday night. So exciting. Oh, speaking of exciting, I want to tell you about RadioWhat.com. I've been revamping RadioWhat.com. Well, not just me, but also my wife. She's been picking out some new music, making sure that the place gets all freshened up. I know I've been playing variety from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, but she's making sure that I get the hottest hits from like right now as well. I mean, because for me, I don't know about you, but I program the station for things that I love. If I like it, I figure somebody else is going to like it as well. And it's been working out. You know, I've been playing the music I want to hear, which is everything. So many different types of music. And it's primarily the top 100 of every year since 1970, and maybe a few from before that. And then, you know, all the way up till yesterday, whatever happened yesterday. And my wife's been helping me out with that recently. So I've been freshening it up, and I've been listening to it almost, you know, whenever I have the chance to listen to a radio, whenever I'm not doing this, I'm listening to the RadioWhat.com to make sure that it's fresh. And I'm like, I'm enjoying it. So if you want, go to RadioWhat.com and click the link, click the listen live link, listen for about an hour and let me know what you think. You know, I'm working on the request feature. I'm trying to get that thing working the way it's supposed to be working. So that way you could search the request list and play the song that you want. But for now, if you want to text me at 501-470-6386 or email keysdan@aol.com, you could do that as well. Also, I want to get sound bites as well. So if you want to give some shout outs for radiowhat.com, just like say your name, where you're from, and I'm listening to what. All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Marcy Chin, the president of Chin City. I'm so excited. I got her on Zoom. I hardly ever do these on Zoom, but Zoom is real quality visual. So if you're listening to the audio version on this, check out the video on YouTube, youtube.com/user/keysdan. Zooming Marcy Chin, Chin City president, now. Oh, I hear something. I see something. Oh my goodness. Look who's on my screen. Marcy Chin, the Chin City president. El presidente, la presidenta. All those things. What is going on? Nice to meet you. Keys Dan at your service. What's happening?
Nice to meet you, Keys Dan. Lots going on.
Well, tell everything. Spill the tea. Now, first of all, let's start off with, hey, where are you on this fine day?
I am in Kingston, Jamaica right now.
Kingston, Jamaica, the motherland. Oh my goodness! I'm from Miami, but I grew up I spent a lot of time on an island. My island, Key Largo, is my island, and a lot of the Marley boys would hang out in the Florida Keys and South Florida. Ziggy and Marlon. I used to find them at Guitar Center, and you know how you can tell Marlon's, some of the Marley boys. You know how you could tell? Because they have a little picture of their dad hanging on a string right here on their chest. They're always representing, I know that's the biggest thing to come out of Jamaica ever. He is the holy man, almost a deity at this point. But
at this point, right?
We're not here to talk about Bob Marley, the late, great Bob Marley. We're here to talk about Marcy Chin and how you flow. You're empowering. If you just catch the videos on YouTube, and there are a lot of them, my friends. Wow. There are so many. Content creator, empowerment, sex has to be just the body image. Positive, always feeling good. It's out there. It's all out there.
You covered it all.
It all encompasses Marcy Chin. But that's just me from the outside looking in. Marcy Chin,
I love that.
Give the people an idea of who you are.
Well, everything that you just said, I am just an eternal being that is just open and just allowing myself to create from here, from the heart, from a very real place as much as possible. So I can, really connect with the people. But, I'm strong. I am passionate. I am loving. What else can I say about myself?
Well, I can feel all of those things. We're not in close proximity. We're on, separate sides of the same side of the continent, but you're all the way in Jamaica on an island. I'm very jealous because it's kind of cold here in Arkansas. Oh my gosh, I miss the islands.
Wearing clothes is just like a crime right now.
For sure. I miss, Miami Beach, Key Largo, the Florida Keys, and reggae was a part of it. And the music was a part of it, being, from Miami, but I've never been out of these United States, but Jamaica is one place that I've seen.
Jamaica. Please let Jamaica be your first destination.
Well, that's one place that's been in movies. The first time I saw it was Dr. No, and that was a James Bond movie from the 60s. I'm not quite that old, but I did want to mention the age difference between us. I'm considerably older than you, and I didn't grow up with this thing called the internet. Have you known the internet your whole life? I mean, I don't know when you were born.
Clever way to ask my age, but yes.
Okay. I mean, but hey, I used to be afraid of telling people my age before I turned 50, but then I have less F's to give. All the F's are gone and they keep dissipating and going away the older I get. Because once you get to a certain age, you stop caring about what people think. You just do what you do. And if people like it, come on, get on board. Come on the chin train.
That's why I feel like it's so not necessary to mention it, because why? Why does that matter when I'm doing the thing?
You're timeless. That's it. You're timeless. If you watch some movies, they don't give you a specific time. They might take a little bit out of Victorian time. They might take a little bit out of the 50s and then the 60s, and then they'll go back to ancient Greece and find something, or the darkest time of whatever, and then they'll mix it all together.
That is the most perfect description for how I even think about creating music. That's exactly what I do. Like when I listen to music, I go back in time. I'm listening to the now. And you're doing that for me right now. Thank you.
Let's talk about a little baby, Marcy Chin. Okay. Have you always been in Jamaica? Were you born in Jamaica? What's your past?
So I was born in Jamaica for sure.
What part?
But,
I know it's a small island.
I was born in Port Antonio, Portland. So that's not the capital. Right, that's one of the best and cleanest parishes. You know how America is divided into states? Mm-hmm. Jamaica is divided into parishes.
Is that because of the French?
Parish is
Is that because of the French or British colonialism? Because I know in New Orleans, in Louisiana, they divide them into parishes as well. I didn't know whether that was the British or the French influence. So it's the British influence that came out that makes it parishes. Now, now.
Well, it started with the Spanish were here as well. The Spanish. Almost everybody was here. The Spanish, the French, everybody. But
who was there first?
But the last people to colonize us were the Brits. So I'm gonna give them that for at least dividing it up further into what it is now, because it started out with less parishes and whatever, all that.
Okay. This portion of the podcast is called History with Marcy Chin. Jamaican history with Marcy Chin. Now, who was the first? Are there indigenous people in Jamaica? Are there a tribe of people that were there before anybody? Or who colonized it first? Or who got there?
Okay. The Arawaks were here first.
Arawaks.
Right? Yeah, they're called the Arawaks or the Tainos. Yeah, and the Caribs or the Kalinagos. So they were the first set of people here before the Africans came here.
I love this.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any Taino descendants that exist today, but I know a lot of, we have a Maroon Town that is similar to how the Native Americans will live on the land and kind of be exempt from certain things like taxis and things like that. We have that for, I think it's called the compound. So we have a little thing going on like that. But as far as the real indigenous people, like the people from the first set of people, I don't think there are any left here.
Yeah, I like that way of thinking. Nobody owns the land. Everybody contributes. It's a way of life that very few people on this planet are privileged to live, in harmony. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about the internet. Don't worry about your social status. Don't worry about that. Just do what you do and have some fun. Learn from the elders. They're going to tell you some stories. They're going to give you some knowledge. Take that knowledge and give it to your children and keep passing it along. But the way you do it is you do it through song. You're time capsulating your experiences, and you're putting them into song. And people that have the opportunity to listen will get one part of your version of your your vision, and then the other people that are privileged to watch a YouTube video or watch any of the video will also get a visual to that. I'm a child of the MTV era, and for you young people, for you my young listener who did not grow up and knew that MTV used to play music videos. They used to play music. The M stood for music. Yes, I miss all that. And I'm glad that you take the time to put out a lot of music videos, because as a DJ, I play music videos. And this weekend at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, they're going to be watching videos of Marcy Chin. And they're going to go, oh, wow, who is that up there? That's my job as a DJ. Not only break it out on the radio, which is right here next to me, but also break it out at the clubs and at different events. If I have control of the music, I'm going to play music from the people, the artists that I've talked to on this podcast, because this is primarily a learning podcast. I get to learn from people like you, Marcy Chin, but I want to know, how you became who you are. We see the finished product. We see what's happening now, how we got to this spot. Now, growing up in Jamaica, and I'm guessing that parish was a very small parish. Did everybody know everybody?
Pretty much, but where I was born, I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Kingston, which is even smaller. But it's almost like, it's small, but it's like it's big, because it's the city, it's the capital. It's like a mini New York, if you will. Like, busy and everything. But where I was born is, a little bit more like slower, a little slower. We'd call that more humble beginnings or whatever. I think that's the term for that. Yeah. But so I grew up in Kingston. I went to high school. I went to prep school, which is like elementary school. And then I went to high school in Kingston. But of course, I had the opportunity to leave Jamaica and visit other places. So like I would summer in the United States and in the UK, because my dad lives in the UK.
Where?
In New York. In New York and South Carolina.
Wait a minute. Yeah. That's two completely different places. New York
my family
and South Carolina. I've been to South Carolina. I've never been to New York. My stepdad was from South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. Very small town, a very small place. But I do remember there was a waterfall that was so beautiful. And I was a very young boy, but I remember going to South Carolina. Tell me about your experiences, not just in New York, the big giant city, but also South Carolina. How did you get to both of those places?
So my family, I have family that lived in New York and still lives in New York. And the same family that I would stay with, I would, visit in the summer, they moved to South Carolina one summer, actually. So one summer I flew there in the middle of them moving. So that was like the first thing, my first experience driving down to South Carolina from New York. So that was like 13 hours. That was like my first real road trip experience. Then when I got there, it was a totally different environment, way different from New York. It's quieter. Almost everyone knows everyone in, whatever little area you stay at. What else? They're very polite and warm, friendly people. But it's quiet. And it shuts down really early.
Understood.
Hardly anything to do, really.
I think I can appreciate that. Moving from Miami, not just to Key Largo. Key Largo's only got about 10,000 people. Well, actually, the whole Florida Keys has about 10,000 people. Key Largo might even have only 1,000 people that actually live there. I might be a little wrong, but but moving from Miami that had 7 million people on my block, of my closest friends, and then moving just 20 miles south to a small town. And then, I moved from Miami to Arkansas. So I understand going from a big city to a small town.
Like a culture shock. Yeah.
It is. It is. People are people all over the world, whether they're bunched in and there's going to be good people that like what you do. And there's going to be bad people that hate you for no reason. I have no idea why. Just, if you're going to hate me because I done something wrong to you. Don't hate me because, you don't like my culture, my people, or where I'm from. Where are you from, boy?
Like, yeah.
Where are you from, boy? Oh, you're from Miami? You're from New York City? Where are you from? You ain't from around here. No, there's those share of those kind of people, but thankfully that's very minimal. The only reason that we know about them is because they've been talked about on movies and they have a big voice on social media. They can get amplified, but for the most part, this is my experience. You tell me otherwise. People are people. There's good people everywhere. There's bad people everywhere. Most people, I think they're pretty good. I mean, I see you for the first time, and I knew this was going to be pretty cool, meeting up with Marcy Chin. But I see you, and bam, straight away, big smile on my screen. Love it. Oh. You could feel the love and the openness that you have, and you feel it in your music too. Yeah, it's a little gangster. It's a little down, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it all comes out. Yeah, a little hardcore, and I love that. And I think I'm going to use the picture that you have kind of holding an air rifle. And I think I'm going to use that as the cover for this podcast. But, for those that are listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version so you could see Marcy Chin and the Chin City president. I don't know how you became the president of Chin City. Maybe it's your own little city because it's your own little namesake. But did you always grow up Marcy Chin? Is that your actual last name?
Chin is definitely my actual last name, but my first name is Lanique.
Why not Lanique Chin? Okay, I can see why you changed to Marcy, but Lanique is just so beautiful. I can imagine you being a one-name artist like Cher or Madonna, or Lanique. Oh my gosh, Lanique. But hey, it's too late to change it now. I'm Keys Dan from the Florida Keys right here in Arkansas. Once you brand yourself, once you get 1 million pages of websites and social media out there, that's it. You're done. In this day and age, if you want to be a creator, be that one singular creator. And that's just the way it is. Only a few people can be P. Diddy and Snoop Lion, where they change their name to Diddy and Snoop Dogg and Snoop, yeah. There's only a few people that can do that. But Marcy Chin, that is fantastic. President of Chin City. But before you were president, you said you went to school. You said you went to high school. Did you finish high school? Did you go to college? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I definitely finished high school. I didn't finish college, but I did start. I think I was going to be in media or something. I started out in mass communications. Yeah. So I definitely always had interest in media.
So you were going to follow in my footsteps. Oh, you heard about Keys Dan and you said, oh, he went to broadcasting school. I think I could do that. If he can do it, I can do it.
I did get certified though. Like I dropped out of my university, but I did re-enroll like maybe a year later, and got like an associate's degree in video production and broadcast journalism.
Excelente. Now, you know what's neat? Over the last couple of weeks, actually over the last week, I had a conversation about Jamaica that was unrelated to Marcy Chin. Not that Marcy Chin and Jamaica. Marcy Chin is Jamaica. Marcy Chin is all things. And one of those things, Jamaica, that's one of those things. But no, I was talking about the FCC, the Jamaican version of the FCC. They have stricter rules than many of the communication commissions in the world. In fact, if you make a song that has any cursing, that has to be clean edited, they won't play it. It has to be made clean. If you want to have a clean version, you better re-record it clean if you want to have any airplay. Have you run into that being in Jamaica?
Definitely. Well, I've never been like rejected for a song or anything like that, but I've been, conscious of it. So I make sure that when I do, because I'm gonna make my explicit version for sure. That's just always gonna be the original. But when I want to get radio play, I restructure the lyrics. Because even if there is edit, there can't be any suggestiveness. So even if I mute a word, I can't, the words before it can't suggest that the muted word is something explicit, right? So I have that consciousness. But, I noticed that a lot of the artists these days don't really care about radio play. Because there's the internet and there's TikTok, and streams are really what's doing it. And the kids don't even really listen to the radio anymore. And that's really just for the people who are kind of behind time with technology. Like, I don't have TikTok, but I still have a radio. So that's really how they look at it. So a lot of people they don't even care anymore. They just make the raw music. And if the streets are saying yes, that's it. They don't care.
Well, I mean, hey, when I was growing up, before, I guess when I was younger, you would just get a record, and then they came up with this parental advisory. And for a lot of us kids, I think that happened when I was a teenager, somewhere around there. For a lot of us kids, we looked for the albums that said parental advisory because we wanted to know what that was. Why can't I listen to that? Bam, I'm going to pick up that record. I'm going to put the needle on the record. And for those young people that don't know what put the needle on the record is, learn about it, okay? I got my 12-inch record. I'm put my wax right there on my technique and put the needle on the record and listen to that music. And I didn't want to stifle anybody's creativity. Yes, if it's on the air, there's rules, there's social norms. You understand that. But if it's something that's going to go directly into your ears because you chose to press play on that cassette, Grandpa, what's a cassette? Okay. No, you chose to press play on that certain media. You wanted to, I think you should have the absolute, privilege or right to listen to whatever you want. But, I have my online radio station, and for that, online radio is pretty much the wild, wild west. I've had the privilege of having Marcy Chin, I Wanna, on the radio, and I'm listening to it, and people are listening to it, and I'm happy to have that.
Are you getting feedback?
Yeah, you're getting feedback from me. I like it so much, because it's in addition, look, you gave me one song, but I see that there are so many more, tens of tens. You've been doing this at least for the last 8 years, putting music out there on YouTube. And TikTok just came around, but you have, SoundCloud. There's so much out there. I have all these links in the show notes for people that want to check all the music, but you have so much. When did that start? Were you just out of high school? Were you in high school? When did you start recording yourself singing and even doing a lot of, there's like rapping in there too?
The first time I was kind of fresh out of high school, maybe 2 or 3 years. Oh my God, it's so interesting. So there was this kid who, after school, my mom had a grocery store. So there was a kid that lived right next to the store. And how the high schools are set up in Jamaica, the ones that are considered traditional high schools, the ones that you have to get excellent grades to be able to attend, a lot of them are Christian schools, because Jamaica is primarily a Christian country, right? So when the schools are run by the same church, they call it sister schools or brother and sister schools, right? So I went to St. Hugh's, an all-girls school. He went to Casey, an all-boys school, and they were considered sister schools. So we connected on that fact. So whenever I would have to work at the shop, because a lot of the times I would have to leave school, change my clothes, and go work in the shop, right? And he'd come out and he'd be spitting lyrics and whatever. And I'd just be like, oh shit, because I do that in my spare time, but I was always very secretive about it. Like I would just have my songbook and that's just my thing that I did in my own time. But he would come out and he would spit and then I would just come out there and listen to him or whatever. And then one day I just got brave and I was just like, here, I got something. And I spat that and he was like, yo, this song good. Let's write a song together. So we wrote a song together. And then one day, like maybe a year or so later, I was hanging out with this man who I signed to at the time to do some swimwear modeling. And we stopped at this house that his friend was a producer. He wrote a couple songs for some of the artists at the time that were doing it, and they stopped to have a conversation or whatever. So, and it was like a big house, and the downstairs was a studio or whatever. So they went upstairs to have a talk, and I wanted to just go into the studio to see what it was like, right? I went in there, and there was an engineer in there, and he was just playing a beat. And I'm like, yo, I have a song, And then him said, yeah. Him say, you want a rhythm? And I said, yeah, I want a rhythm. And he put a beat in there. And then I spat the song that me and the kid wrote, right? And when I was done, I was like, oh my gosh. Remember, I don't really know anything about the process of recording at this point. So when the conversation was done and everything, and we got back in the car and everything, he had put it on a CD for me. At the time, CDs were a thing.
Yeah.
And I put it in the car, like after, excuse me, he drove away. We were talking a little bit and we were talking about music because he was telling me about the guy, who he was. His name was Danny Champagne, by the way, and he passed away, so rest his soul. But yeah, they were talking about it, something about music. And then I was like, well, listen to this. So we put the CD in there and he's like, who is this? I said, that's me. He's like, when did you do that? I said, I just did that while you were upstairs having the conversation. So that was the first time I ever heard myself on wax. And then I had that song for a little while and I had met this girl who was dating a producer that was kind of hot in those days too. And I said, I want you to play this for your boyfriend for me. And she was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do it. So a day would pass. I didn't hear anything back. So I'm like, all right, let me give him a day. Another day passed. And I'm like, did you let him hear it? Yeah, but you should come. He wants you to come by. So I said, okay, shit, what does that mean? Is that good? How come he heard it, but you can't tell me if it was good or what did he say, whatever. So anyway, I was like, all right, I'll come by. Little did I know, this man had not listened to the song yet. And the first time he was about to listen to it was when I was there with them. All loud in his car, his Subaru at the time. And it was like souped up and loud, the speakers. And so if you're a mile away, you can hear me. And this was the first time, and I am devastated now. Because this song is playing. I wanted not to be there when he's listening to it for the first time. I just want to hear the comments. I'm watching and I'm just dying on the inside. Oh my God. But when it was done, he was like, this is good. You have a lot of potential. You should come by some other time, whatever. And then that other time came and I came by and he was playing this beat, this reggae beat. And he was like, he wanted to make a song. He said, you can sing? I said, maybe. Yeah. And then we wrote this song called I Really Like You, Really Like You. Well, boy, I really like you. Long time I've been searching for it. Or something like that. Something like that. I can't remember the lyrics now. Anyway, so that was the first, official professional song, because after that happened, I thought I sang it a bit timid, so I knew I wanted to re-record it, but that was just a demo, right? So anyway, the girl kept saying, when are you coming back to re-record it? And I was like, I I don't know. But anyway, eventually I came back and I heard the song playing in the studio and I started crying because I thought someone else had sang my thing that I wrote. I'm like, oh my God, they kicked me off the song and put somebody else and they didn't even bother to rewrite something. Little did I know that the song was mixed. No, I didn't know anything about mixing a song or that it would make you sound so different. And, I sounded like a professional. I was like, who is that? That's me. And that was the first time I got airplay on the radio in Kingston.
That is beautiful. You know what that is? That is you, Marcy Chin, being brave and going up and saying, if somebody asks you a question, can you do this certain task? Yeah, I can do that. And then if you don't know how to do it, you're going to learn how to do it real quick.
Exactly.
You had the courage to go up to this producer and make a record. And then you had the courage. Your friend kind of failed you a little bit, maybe a little bit, and didn't get that song listened to by the other producer. And you had to go in there, look him in the eye, and play that song in his car, I guess. And what was the experience there? How did that feel?
It was terrifying. It was terrifying because I'm very critical of myself. I'm very critical of like how things should sound, like coming from me, of course, and like how things are written, things like that. And me being unsure or just like new to the game like that, not really knowing what it should sound like or whatever, or if I'm being delusional about it sounding good, had me in knots. So to have that experience with him for the first time, to see his natural, real reaction and not like give him a chance to think about it and fix his words so he could say something kind to me or possibly mean, who knows. It was something. It was just like, it was like being caught naked or something. It felt like that.
Well, you went to school, you learned about how to make videos, but in this experience, you learned a little bit about mixed mastering, about how the voice gets manipulated and changed. There was a time years ago, I was making a commercial and it was on reel to reel. Okay. Kids, look that up. Okay. It's a tape on this side and a metal tape on this side, metal tape on that side. And it goes reel to reel. And the only way to manipulate that is to slow it down physically by hand. So they wanted my voice to be even deeper than it is. And I was making a commercial for this Jamaican group. Funny enough, it was a Jamaican group that comes to the Florida Keys every 3rd of July. And they wanted me to say, crowd the people. It's a roadblock affair. Every 3rd of July. Blah, 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 from Jamaica comes out to see you in Key Largo, Florida. And it was like, it was a whole bunch of that, come again, selecta man, that kind of thing, right? And they wanted it even deeper, so they manipulated it like that. And that was the way you can do it. But with electronics, there is no limit to what I can do to your voice, to your instruments. I can make a 4 and 4. I can make the instruments match into place. I can make your voice match whatever video, even TikTok videos, of which you're very familiar with. My goodness, you have so much content out there on TikTok, but there's different applications that you can use to make the music match the video, match pictures, and they'll set on beats. So if you're singing just a little off key, there is auto-tune. That's the most famous one. But there's also echo and reverb. There's many different things that can make your voice sound, okay, you sound great, but it'll make it sound even better. But problem with that is when you go and do a concert, if some people are very forgiving, depending on how much they love you, fans, fanatics, But some people will say, oh, that doesn't sound exactly like the record. Well, of course it's not going to sound exactly like the record. It was produced. You know, if you're out in an arena, out in the air, I mean, they got to realize you were in a little room with a microphone, with a pop filter. That was the first little bit of thing that you had. Then you had a computer, you had an engineer that changed the sound. Yeah, it's not going to sound exactly the same. But if people love you, they're gonna be okay with that. Marcy Chin, have you taken your show on the road? Yes, you have a lot of stuff on SoundCloud and videos on YouTube. And were all those side question? Were all those videos made or partially produced by you?
Partially, some of them, yes.
Fantastic. Now, have you taken this show on the road? Have you been in front of a crowd and experienced that with the Marcy Chin? Have you taken Chin City and built it on different locations?
So, as it relates to like doing a tour or anything like that, like a Chin City official tour, that's not happened yet. But I have been a guest on another person's tour, another artist's tour, War 21 at the time when they were like really doing it. So I had that experience even before Chin City became Chin City today. You know, that was just me just going out there, just throwing myself into the deep ocean to see what happens before I knew I had to come back home to really develop Marcy Chin in Chin City. But today I am working on getting these shows together. I am getting like individual bookings. Like I have a show coming up in Canada. I've never been to Canada, so that's exciting. I have something coming up in Atlanta. I've never performed in Atlanta, so that's exciting. So hopefully by end of this year, I can say album coming soon and tour coming up.
Fantastic. Okay, Chin City. It is a brand. It is a location in your mind. It is a location that can be physical, but for right now, it is got different avenues. We already know that Chin City features Marcy Chin singing, rapping, making videos, making music videos, content creating. You have, like I said, you have TikTok video after TikTok video. You're doing it right, okay? I just made it over 1,000 so I can start doing lives on TikTok, which I'm having a good time doing the radio show. In fact, on Sunday, I'm going to probably do another radio show. I'll feature Marcy Chin and some of the other new artists that I've had, over the last few weeks on the podcast, and that have just sent me their songs. So I get a lot of new songs every week asking to be put on the radiowhat.com. But you have so much content out there, and you're doing it right. You're singing little tidbits of your songs so people can be led over to Apple and maybe buy a song. But what are the other avenues of Chin City? Making music, making videos, content creating. What else is Chin City doing besides breaking hearts? Okay, I already know that.
Well, right now, Chin City is just really focused on souping up the content, actually, musically. I want to drop more consistently than I've been doing. Musically, the music itself, like there is now a demand for that. I think I've successfully created a little demand for myself. I have people tuning in and anticipating music. So I want to increase my popularity this year so that I can branch off into other things that I'm interested in. I'm working on merch too. I want, like Chin City is just an official movement. It's my fan base. It's my world for my fans and myself. The people who want to follow my journey in this music thing and whatever else this universe has in store for me.
Well, Chin City, you have a great logo already. That'll look good on hats, bumper stickers, on pins, on T-shirts. The Chin City with the little city on top. Who designed that for you?
It was a friend of mine who Yeah, so at first it was a little more basic, but then I was ready for an upgrade. So my friend, who's also an artist, his name is Lincoln Three Dot. He was like, I have a friend who is like great with design, so he's gonna send over a couple mock-ups, and then that was my fave of all the options. And then, he liked it as well. So it was like a unanimous decision. I did check with one other friend, my friend Mishka. I'm like, what do you think about this? Because she's good with the, aesthetics. So, and she was like, wow, this goes hard. So I'm like, all right, that's it then. I didn't get the guy's name, the actual guy who did it, but the person who made that happen was Lincoln.
See, a lot of times you don't know where to start. Yes, you know how to sing, you've got bravery, but then the branding, and people think that branding is brand new. No, it's been around since people were people. Okay, you don't think Nero had branding? You don't think that Julius Caesar was a brand name? Yeah. That Cleopatra was a brand? You don't think that she was? I got to make sure that I'm on point with these, with this eyebrows, with this chin thing, with these. Oh, make sure that my horsey guys are behind me. You got to have a brand. Branding has been a thing, and you want something that people will recognize as Chin City, as Marcy Chin, without even having to think about it. If you look at the Golden Arches, hey, that's McDonald's. Okay, this portion of the podcast brought to you by McDonald's. Okay, but that has to be the way of the world right now, and I'm glad you have that. I want to put that. I want to put that on places. I want to put that out there, and I want you to put that out there. And people think that artists are making millions of dollars still on record sales. They're not. Even the ones that are at a different level, even the Justin Biebers, even the Britney Spears, even the Rihannas, they have to play so much on Spotify to get so little. And you can like or hate Spotify and the social media and the streaming services. Yes, they give you lots and lots of exposure. If you get 1 million hits, maybe somebody's going to invite you to their club or invite you on their tour. You've already had a taste of that tour. You said what was the group you said that you were on tour with?
Ward 21, like a hospital ward.
Ward 21.
In Jamaica, Ward 21 is the psych ward.
I like that. There was Van Halen had an album called 5150, and that means crazy in L.A. on the Police band. But okay, I do want to talk about the language. I want to talk about the way that you talk, the way that you sing. I've always been fascinated by the Jamaican. It's English, but it's not quite English. And I know there's a lot of code switching. Whenever you're talking, professionally on a podcast, I have to have my code switched. But, then you're talking with your friends, you're talking with your mates, and it's me na na, me no no, me no go, me na na. It's a lot of that. And that gets reflected in the music. And for somebody with discerning ears like me, I love it. I love it. RadioWhat.com. People go, there's a lot of variety, man. You'll play something by Perry Como, and then you'll play something by Eminem, and then you'll play something by Rihanna, and then you'll play I love music, just all kinds of music. And I tell me about the speak. What is it? Is there a name for it? The way that Jamaicans speak?
Yeah, it's a language. It's called patois.
Patois. Yeah. See, that sounds French too.
French word. It's a French word. It's P-A-T. It's spelled P-A-T-O-I-S, but it's pronounced patois. P-A-T-W-A-H.
See, that leads.
So sometimes you'll see that spelling.
You mentioned that you're from parishes, and that leads me to believe that there is a lot more French influence in Jamaica.
Oh, there's a lot of French influence.
Okay.
There's French, there's Spanish, and of course English, which is the dominant one because English is our first language. But patois came from all the influences we've had over the decades, the centuries, the French who came, the Spanish who came, the English, maybe a bit of Dutch somewhere. There's just like a bunch. It's a cornucopia. It's like a lot. It's a lot of the different things put together. So it's you'll hear English words in there, but then you'll hear a word like nyam, which means eat, and that's an African word, I believe. So it's like that too. So we've kept some of the African tongue. I don't know. I cannot. Maybe there's a way to trace back to which country certain words come from, which African country, but that's in there too. Juk, nyam.
Does that mean you're hungry?
Wait. Nyam is eat.
Yeah, I got the eat part. What's juk?
Juk. Not juke, because there's jukebox and juke and juke.
Yeah.
But juk, Jook, juk. You say it short. That's like when you poke something or you make a hip thrust going forward. A dance move, like, you know?
So what does
like
that have to do with eating? Juke.
Say that again.
What does that have to do with eating?
No, it doesn't. I'm just giving you like different words.
Oh, different words.
But it could, if I'm going to use my fork to juke the food and eat it.
Juke the food. Okay. I work in close proximity from time to time with a young man that he's from Turks and Caicos. And man, sometimes I cannot understand when he is speaking at me. I tell him, hey, could you please repeat that a little slower? But I love it. I love it. I love the flavors that so many different types of people living in Miami and you going to New York City, you had to have seen it. Just everyone living together, whether they like it or not. You know, could it be, is it friendly? Is it not friendly? There's 7 million people walking in Times Square at any given time, walking through there, and all walks of life. And we gotta live together. That's the main thing. That's the point I guess I try to make with all of these podcasts, is that there's so much flavor in this world, and just enjoy it. And your flavor, your brand is coming through in that music and in the videos. I was watching your TikTok videos today. I was going through some of the older ones. They're hilarious. And then you had the latest one is like you going to the beat of the music, but then shooting when the gun shot, pow, pow. It was just wow. And I can see why it gets thousands and thousands of hits, because it's amazing. It's very entertaining. Where do you learn how to do all these things? Is it something that you're born with, that you've been working on?
There's 7 million people in New York, and there's only like 2 million people in Jamaica. 2.8 million.
Well, small town. I like that. Everybody knows everybody. They love each other. So, I mean, where would you like to end up? As a creator, do you want to live in Jamaica your whole life, or do you think to get somewhere you might have to go to New York or South Carolina? South Carolina. Why? No. Hey, shots fired to South Carolina. I love that place. It's very green. And like I said, my stepdad's from there, and it was a great place to go. But Atlanta is beautiful. I guess Nashville, California, all these places that have these music capitals. But I guess you can make music wherever you want.
Anywhere. I just want to be in a different part of the world for different inspiration.
Well, okay.
So I would like to be in the south of France for like 6 months and be inspired by that. Maybe a little French album, I don't know, or something worldly, something just out there in the world. And then I'm back over in the UK or something. And then, the United States, maybe down in Australia, just having these different things to be able to connect with different types of people and just be that for everyone if I can.
Well, we kind of glossed over your mom's, I guess, family is in New York and maybe South Carolina, somewhere between there. But then your dad's family is out there in the UK. Tell me about that a little bit.
So my dad My dad and my mom split up when I was like 2 years old or something like that. And he's been living in the UK ever since. And my grandmother is there, my auntie, my cousins. So I had, a couple experiences traveling to the UK to be with him, be with them, and to see what it's like over there. But the last time I was there was when I did the tour with War 21, and they stopped over in the UK. That was the last time I actually visited the UK, which was in like 2014. Something like that.
Time to get back.
I had time to go back because I know the experience will be different again because we're all grown now. Mm-hmm. All the kids are grown up. So,
well, tell me how it was. I mean, what being amongst the UK, the English people.
From what I can remember, you know what? A lot of the culture here in Jamaica was modeled off of Brit culture. And then when I went there, I noticed that Jamaica has influenced London in a major way. Like their dialect, they use our dialect there. You know, they'll even the music is influenced by dancehall music, like the garage and things like that. The way they spit, the words they use, like I said, they're on top of our dialect. The food is interesting.
It's not great. Okay, you can say it. You can say it. It's not great. No, I think about Ali G in the house. Sacha Baron Cohen's character of Ali G, where he was supposed to be a Jamaican rapper from Staines in the UK, but that is a real type of person. There are really rappers in Staines that have a Jamaican influence to them. And I play a couple of them on RadioWhat.com, and I love it that they have that influence. But is that something that you got influenced by? What kind of music were you growing up with? I know this is a question I should have asked you like an hour ago, but what kind of music did you grow up with?
I grew up listening to a lot of dancehall and a lot of hip hop and a lot of alternative music, we'll say it's alternative, but like rock and roll and metal stuff. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like hard hitting music, hardcore music. Rarely I would get a feel of some R&B. Rarely. I really rarely listen to soft music, but I do when I do. Like when I listen to like an Evanescence and Amy Lee is like doing a ballad. That's my type of slow jam. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, heavy guitars, heavy drums, percussion. I love percussion driven music, which is dancehall. Yeah.
So did you have any formal lessons singing, or do you play any instrument? No formal. Just singing in your room, annoying your parents, I'm sure.
Yes, in the bathroom, annoying my little brother especially because we took turns working in the shop together. So when I was done with my shift and he would come in, he'd have to listen to something that I wrote before I left.
Wow. So you were writing things even at a young age. Writing poetry? Was it poetry or was it always lyrics? You always knew that it was a song.
And poetry. Lyrics, definitely. Like I would more lean towards writing lyrics because, and it wasn't like a conscious decision either. Like I never said, I want to try that. I just did it. I just would hear something like a song that I like. And then if I could get a hold of just the beat, I'll try to, put my own spin on that, or I'll just write the lyrics. It was mostly lyrics and no beat, because at the time I wasn't really having access to beats. I didn't know how to get access to beats. But as a kid, I would just play a beat and spit something.
So what are we working on now? Now that we've got a basic idea, and I know we only scratched the surface of where you came from and who you are, but what are we working on now? You said there's a new album that you're thinking. There's new songs.
I want to come with an album, but right now I'm working on more singles. I dropped something after I Wanna, by the way, which is burning TikTok up right now.
Yes.
It's gaining traction like crazy right now, and you know, I have more of those that I have lined up because right now the most important thing for me is to turn the popularity up some, gain more popularity and have people anticipate the album. I need an audience for my album.
Yeah, I'm in awe of you, Marcy. I'm in awe of you because I've not written a song, let alone almost 100 songs. I mean, just ballpark, but tens and tens and tens of songs. I didn't even know that people still did albums. One of the things I used to love is picking up an album and looking at liner notes and looking at the story of how Marcy Chin. Oh, when you were writing this song, you were thinking about this. Oh, and this is things that I could talk about on the radio before I introduce your song. Or, I could talk about, hey, go follow Marcy Chin at Marcy Chin City, on TikTok. Let people know how to get a hold of you. Now, that is one thing. Okay, now that we're down and we're probably towards the end of this thing, how do people get a hold of you and what would you like them to do? Are you open to collaborations or invites on tours? Would you like to do another Ward 21?
Okay, so we'll start with how to get a hold of me. At Marcy Chin Official on Instagram. It's MarcyChinOfficial official. But if you're trying to book me, please don't DM me. Please call this number. And the number is 876-517-0752. If you want to follow and keep up with everything that I've got going on, so that's Instagram. My Twitter is at Marcy Chin, MarChin. That's it. My TikTok, Marcy Chin City President. I had to get that long name because so many other pages and TikTok can get a little crazy.
I see it. It says Marcy Chin City President. Oh my goodness. That is a pretty long TikTok name, but I like it. It's worth it. It's worth it. But if anybody wants to get a hold of you, the Instagram is definitely the way to go because there's a spot right there. It says for bookings, including interviews, 876-517-0752. Blow that telephone up because Marcy needs to be booked everywhere, doing everything. I want you to run ragged until you don't want to do it anymore, and then you can retire and live on a beach or wherever you want.
Yeah. And I'll invite you to my beach house.
That's the goal. That's the end goal. That's right. Pool party at Marcy Chin's in 2050.
Yeah.
I think that's about right. That's about enough time to where, hey, I think I can retire.
Can be sooner.
A little sooner. Okay. All right. Let's make enough money to be comfortable by 2040. How about that? Good enough.
2030.
Wow, that's quick.
We can try to manifest quicker than that.
Send it out to the universe.
I think 2030 is a good.
All right. Like I said, we've only touched the surface here. We've only really scratched it. You got stuff coming up. There's an album. It's in the universe already. It's going to happen. There's single after single after single. You could buy them on iTunes. You could stream them on SoundCloud. And I mean, where's the money being made? It's going to have to be merchandise and shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Book Marcy Chin. Do it. Do it now. You big producer. She's already got her brand. She's got a little thing. All the fans are going to be giving little C signs.
Yeah. Chin City. Yeah.
All right. Marcy Chin. I always like to, you can give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way. And then we'll close this thing up with some last words. So give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way.
Okay. I have to give a shout out to Conley McCarthy. Conley the culprit. He's the guy behind these incredible beats that you hear, this interesting sound that I cultivated over the years, and has been a mentor, guided me through even songwriting, like, as a dancehall songwriter. I have to shout out my manager, Joseph Bogdanovich, who heard me, believed in me. He just knows that I'll make it. And that's all a girl needs, And of course, he supports me as best as he can in all the ways. Shout out to my girl that works with me right now. Her name is Mally. She keeps me super organized. I think you've been in contact with her. She's the one who basically organized this interview right now. Like, got me here right now.
Everybody needs a Mally. All right. Somebody to assist you and get your life straight. That'll get you further.
Yeah, definitely. She's new to my team. And she's been so perfect so far. So I just hope that continues forever. Shout out to my mom, who's been there for me. Even when I haven't heard from her in a long time. Like, if I pick up the phone and say, Mom, oh my God, Mommy. She's right there. And all my friends, Mishka, a friend that's been there, my friend Tadisha, who's helped me too, with buying my clothes for me when I can't deal with that right now. Please be my personal shopper. And, just doing it as a personal favor. That's some people don't have time for that. So that's special to me.
Well, you say you did some modeling. Did that teach you about fashion, or did you already know about fashion previous to that? What informed you?
Previous to that, I just had my own style. But going into that, I had a bit more experience, like having to wear clothes by designers and stuff. And things that I probably didn't know at the time. I managed to learn.
Fantastic.
But still, I'm still learning. I'm still learning about that.
All right. Well, yeah. Let's close this thing up. I mean, I always finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by. This could be something you heard a long time ago or a mantra that you wake up with. I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. As time progresses, you have other things that you want to promote. You come on back here and we'll talk about it. And we'll put this thing out to the world, get more ears and eyes on Marcy Chin. But Marcy Chin, for now, give the last words for the people.
My people, what can I say to you that you probably don't know? Well, I want to say this. Focus on yourself first. You can't help anyone. You can't do anything outside of yourself. If you are empty, you have nothing to give. You can't help anybody. You can't feed from an empty cup. So please be gentle with yourself. Be calm. Pay attention. Treat yourself with love and care and gentility. Talk to yourself kindly. This will teach you how to be a beautiful person to others. And yeah, we could use some more of that in the world. And that will improve your own life too. Because when you're good and you're emanating this great positive energy from just being kind to yourself, then you attract that type of energy back to you. And you just notice how things aren't really going wrong in your life anymore. It was as simple as focusing on you. So do that. Love on yourself, please.
Well, there you have it, party people. Marcy Chin, Chin City president. Okay, first of all, go to her Instagram, follow her there. Go to her TikTok, follow her there. Those are the two main follows that I say that you do it. And of course, the YouTube. Watch the videos. Oh, my goodness. The lady is talented. Very, very talented. She's been putting it out on YouTube at least for the last 8 years. So perfecting her craft ever since then, putting out videos, putting out content just for your entertainment, I've had so much fun watching these videos. She's got style and it's just, and the videos are very stylized. I don't know how she gets her mouth to do that. Watch watch the latest video on TikTok, or there's one where she's like shooting a gun or whatever, and there's one on Instagram. Oh my gosh, it's just she's got an interesting way of singing, of rapping, of lyricizing. Is that even a word? I don't know. I'm a wordsmith. I'll make my own word. If I don't know a word, boom, I'll hammer one out for you. No problem. And that's what Marcy Chin does as well. So the Chin City brand, the Chin City logo, it's out there. Look for it. Look for it on merchandise. Go get some of that merchandise. I'm sure she'll have a website up pretty soon. The best website I've seen is the Caribbean, Kribbean. There's a pretty good write-up there for the baddest MC. Her ever-changing look and sound are both innate and intentional. And it's true. It's true. You could see it on YouTube over the years that she's been changing and I don't know, it's just reforming and blossoming into metamorphosizing, kind of like a butterfly, changing, not as completely as a butterfly, but definitely changing for the better. And always, oh my goodness, Madonna did it. And so many of the great artists did it, make sure that they're not stale. They're not stagnant. Beyonce does it. They become different versions of themselves, but are still true to themselves. Marcy Chin, it's good to know you. You maybe have some thoughts. You maybe have some feels, and I appreciate that. And the love, the openness that you had. I mean, from the opening of the podcast, you were lit up, and I like it. Good energy coming from you, Marcy Chin. I look forward to hearing more from you. All right, that's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Thank you so much, Marcy Chin, the Chin City president, for coming on the show. Now, I'm turning my attention to you, my loyal listener. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. My goodness, I got to get back to work on radiowhat.com because it is just getting better and better and better. Check out radiowhat.com. Click that listen live link and listen for about an hour and let me know what you think about radiowhat.com. I'm enjoying it. And I figure if I like it, somebody else is going to like it. People are people. It's not just one type of music. People ask me, hey, what kind of music you listen to? Do you play on Radio What? I said, yeah, what type? All kinds of music. And there's stuff in different languages in there. And it's melodic, and I love it. I like it. Not just Spanish. There's some Middle Eastern stuff in there, some African music in there. I just like the way it sounds. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what half of the stuff, the foreign language stuff is saying, but I like it. I like the way it sounds. I do. I hope they're not talking about some naughty stuff, but hey, it is what it is. I'm enjoying the music on radiowhat.com. I'm not just a client, but I'm also the president or something like that. All right, that's it for me. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.